All right, welcome back to the Leaksmith. This is our fifth podcast episode. It's just after 4th of July weekend. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Tommy, I'm Phillip. This is Tommy here, who is toughing it out after getting jumped over the 4th of July holiday weekend, as you can see here, right in that general region.
Roofers are tough.
Right there. It's actually not, he didn't get jumped, but he...
Let's let him think about it. It just kind of adds intrigue to the podcast. I'll reveal what the cause of all this is at some point. But
sounds good.
it doesn't hurt as much as it looks like.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. We are finishing up our series on the 10 key questions that every homeowner should ask their roofer before hiring. So today we're going to jump into the last 4 of those. And before we jump into that, we've got, before in our last episodes, we were talking at the beginning of every episode. I think it was one interesting fact or one helpful fact. We've decided to rebrand that.
Taking it up a notch.
We're going to have that segment or that piece of the podcast. We're going to call it Uncommon Common Knowledge. So today's Uncommon Common Knowledge is, if you live in the state of Georgia, who are your senators?
Wow. And if you're listening with or watching with other people, ask everybody in the room, see if anybody knows. So are you asking me?
You'd be really surprised how many people don't know that. I mean, it's basic knowledge, but no, you take one, I'll take the other.
Of the 2 senators?
Yes.
Well, I get the easier because I only have, okay. I'm going to say Raphael Warnock is one of my senators.
I don't know the first name. I just know the last name. Ossoff.
I think it's John with no H.
Okay.
John Ossoff. Seems right.
So those are our 2 senators.
Ossoff and Warnock.
Just for fun, one that we were playing around with when we were talking about this yesterday was, can you name every president during your lifetime? And we decided not to use this one because it's a different answer for everybody. But I'll just be honest.
But could you pass the test?
I think I can come pretty close. I think I can come pretty close.
Okay.
So.
Are you going to do that? Or
yeah. So.
I've been there the whole time. I'll know.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
I think I might get 2 of them out of one of them out of order, but I'd say Reagan, Bush Sr., or was Clinton before Bush?
Yeah.
Clinton, then Bush Sr., Bush Jr.,
mm-hmm.
Obama,
mm-hmm.
Trump, I know, Sleepy Joe, and Trump again.
There we go. That's not bad. That's a lot of presidents in such a short life.
It'd be a little harder for you. You think you can do it?
I think I can. I get now that I know it's coming. I got a month to review.
Oh, you thought I was?
You want me to do it right now?
That's fine. I'll
just do the ones up to when you were born. Eisenhower, who I don't remember because I was a baby, and then JFK. And then LBJ.
Who's the first one you remember?
The first one I remember is John F. Kennedy getting shot. Yeah, because it was on TV. I happened? Was 5. I was a kindergartner at St. Thomas.
That's probably like your version of September 11th.
It is kind of. Yeah, it is kind of. It was a big deal. But then JFK and then LBJ. I think he was sworn in on the plane coming back from Dallas. And then Richard Nixon. Ooh, I might blow it here. Who came after Nixon? Ford stepped in for him, and then Ford got beat by Jimmy, and then Jimmy got beat by Reagan, and now we're into your life. So there it is. Yeah,
that's pretty dang good.
All right, let's talk roofing, maybe.
Yeah. So before we jump into the new questions, quick recap on what we've gone over in the previous episodes. In case you don't have time to watch those whole episodes, we'll give you the, what are they called? Cliff notes.
Yeah,
Cliff notes. So the first one was, do you have a physical office, not just a P.O. box? This is a way of checking legitimacy. Established companies should have a brick and mortar location. 2, how many years have you been in business under the same name? This is not about total experience. This is just so really you know the difference between how many years somebody's been in the industry versus how long they've been under the same name. Just goes to, again, credibility and legitimacy. If you get a warranty from somebody and they say they've been in business for 20 years of experience, they've only been in business for 1 year, and they gave you a 10-year warranty, you might want to take that warranty with a grain of salt. Are you manufacturer certified? If so, by which manufacturer? This is simple. Unregulated state like Georgia, next best thing to a trade license is a manufacturer certification. Do you have on-site project managers? If so, how many jobs will they supervise at once? Huge thing for customers to be able to communicate and ask questions on the day of the job, and for quality assurance to have a project manager. And you don't want them bounced around between multiple jobs. You want a project manager that's dedicated to you the entire day. Are you using real hip and ridge caps? If so, what brand? You just want to make sure roofers aren't shortchanging you and using 25-year 3-tabs instead of real ridge caps. And that's pretty much the same thing for the next one, which is, are you using real starter shingles? If so, what brand? Again, you want to make sure a roofer's not throwing in a 25-year 3-tab and diminishing the overall quality of your new architectural roof. That gets us into the new and last questions. Tommy, I believe you were going to start, and you can jump in with the first. Do you remember it? Yes, number 7.
Okay, so 7 on the list of 10. And by the way, I want to preface this by saying we're starting to get some faithful listeners. One of our faithful listeners is an intern at the studio where I take dance lessons. I think she's 20, 21 years old. Mm-hmm. She's studying dental hygiene. She's always reading a book that thick, but she just finds our podcast fascinating. And she said, I did not know that there was so much intrigue in the roofing industry. And I think
there's plenty of that.
And I think today's episode is particularly filled with intrigue. And again, the goal here, if you're looking for a roof, you become well equipped, but also you just want to be the expert on roofing. If it comes up, you're sitting on lawn chairs watching a T-ball game, somebody mentions roofing, you'll be the expert. People be surrounding you. Okay, so question number 7, as you add to your roofing knowledge, is how long have your, as a 2-parter, how long have your crews worked with you, and do they work for other companies also?
Yeah, so I'm the roofer in this scenario, and you're Mr. Homeowner.
I'm grilling you. Yeah.
Yeah. So the answer you're wanting to get for you to move forward with that roofer would be that their crews only work for them, mm-hmm. and that they've been working for them for 5 years or more.
Okay.
Couple reasons for that. If they bounce around between multiple companies, you're just going to have a hard time ensuring the same quality every single day when you put a roof on. If you don't have enough work to keep a crew busy, you're going to have to find a new crew just about every time you sell a job. You cannot guarantee the quality of workmanship when you operate that way. The other thing is, when it comes to warranties, if they work for multiple other people, they don't just rely on you, there's a very good chance they're going out of state at different times of the year to chase storms and where it's hot. So if you get a warranty issue on a roof that they did, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, and they're in Texas, mm-hmm. and you call your roofer, what's going to happen is they're either going to dodge your calls, or they are going to answer and just keep kicking the can down the road. Or they might just ghost you altogether. Or the last option would be they come out of pocket and they pay somebody else to fix your roof. And most of them aren't going to do that, unfortunately.
Number 6 is they could put on some tennis shoes and show up with a caulking gun themselves.
Yes.
With no roofing knowledge.
Yeah. And the caulk gun is like kind of a joke in the roofing industry. It's the fix all, which, people get up and goop the hell out of leaks occasionally. And, I'll just tell you, it will stop a leak here and there, but it is not a permanent solution.
I actually saw recently a proposal from somebody else that said double caulk real good.
Oh God. I don't even, I'll have to ask you after the episode what company that was.
Double caulk. real good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll have to ask you after who that was. But
It's good
you know,
stuff.
also, you know, just making sure that they work directly and only for that company. You know, they're not interchangeable parts to us. These are real human beings. We know all of them. They're at our Christmas parties, company events, and they have a vested interest in doing a great job, not just to get paid, but for their career and the overall success.
Yeah,
of
I will
the
say they
business.
are athletes too. They
Yeah.
are agile. Next to watching a guy trim the highest parts of a tree, I would say watching a good roofing crew at work is probably the next most fun spectator
It's like a
sport.
well-oiled machine. You
Yeah,
watch,
yeah.
or like a baseball team where they've been playing together for
Yeah.
5 years. Everybody knows their job automatically. They don't even have to talk, and that's really how our crews are. It is impressive to watch.
Sure.
We're kind of and we're not so impressed by it anymore because we've been around it every day. But every time every week I'd say one or two customers make a comment about how impressive it is.
Yeah.
So you don't get that if your crew doesn't work for you every single day.
Good stuff.
All right. So moving on to the second question for the day. Are you bonded? If so, can you provide a certificate?
Yeah, I got my insurance certificate right here. Here it is.
This just says you have workers' comp and liability.
Oh, well,
Where's your bond
Oh,
certificate?
well, I was hoping, Mr. Homeowner, that you wouldn't notice that. Usually when I hand that certificate off and say, here's my insurance, that answers the question. Are you asking me specifically about a bond?
Yeah, a bond certificate.
Yeah. Okay. So most companies, I would say 9 out of 10, if you ask them if they're insured and bonded, licensed, insured, and bonded, they'll say yes, yes, and yes. How they're going to show you a license in Georgia, I don't know, because there is no license. We've talked about that.
Only caveat to that, there's a voluntary
Voluntary
trade license, which we do have. Roofers can get that,
Right.
but it is not a state mandated license.
Okay, are you insured? And they might show you an insurance certificate. I think we're going to talk about
Yeah,
that
we'll talk
later.
about that
Okay.
more, yeah.
And so the third thing is a bond. Now, here's what most people don't understand or don't even know. A bond is a specific instrument that gives you an extra layer of protection, and it's actually called a dishonesty bond.
Yeah, as you can see right here, this is an actual certificate of a dishonesty bond. Just so you can take a look at that.
So
This is what you should be getting from
nobody
your potential
likes,
roofer.
nobody likes to talk about dishonesty, but obviously it's a big enough problem, particularly in the roofing industry. If it's an insurance deal, the insurance company will give the homeowner part of the money up front. Contractor takes that money and may never show up because he may be using it to pay for his last job, or he may be consuming it personally. We call that an accidental Ponzi. But that's dishonesty. If you take a deposit and never show up. So a dishonesty bond protects you from that happening to you. It also protects you if something ends up walking off your property when the job is being done. Now, of course, that never happens with us because our crews have been with us forever and we're very careful about vetting. But a dishonesty bond is very important. And to have them cough it up and know what it is important.
I think it also, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it also protects them in the event that they've got a multi-day project. We do most of our jobs in a day, but there are large projects that are multiple days. If you have a roofer that, let's say, they started your 3-day roof project and they got through day one, had your whole roof torn off, and then disappeared after day one. When you gave them, the first payment or whatever your agreement was, and they disappeared, your bond certificate, I believe, would cover finishing that roof and fixing damages from that would result from any weather.
I'm no bond guy, but I believe that's known as a performance bond. I think that's
Okay.
common to the commercial insurance industry, where you're taking percentage of completion payments.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, it's more relevant there.
Yeah, that's kind of the...
For residential roofing, a performance bond is not as important, but as this.
And by the
dishonest
way,
one.
let's say that you have an unusually expensive project as a homeowner. Let's say that you have a big spread out in the country and you're going to do all fancy metal, or you're going to do some really premium shingle. Let's just say you're into $150,000, $200,000 and it's going to take 2 weeks. Your contractor might ask you for percentage of completion payments along the way, and you're perfectly within your reasonable right to say, okay, I'll do that if you'll go out and get a performance bond. because a reputable roofer ought to be able to go to his insurance agent and get a short-term insurance bond with that person named on there. It might cost them $300 or $400, but they can actually get that performance guaranteed for that project, rather than carrying it the whole time. Okay, let's move on. Question number 9. We're closing in on it.
Yeah.
I'm asking you.
Oh, are you?
Are you insured with workers' comp and general liability?
Why, yes, yes, sir, I am. All of our presentation folders, as you have right here, have a copy of our workers' comp and general liability. That being said, what I would suggest is that you call our agent. I'll be happy to provide you with his number, and you get a copy of this with your name listed as the certificate holder. The reason why you're going to want to do that is in the event that something happens between the time you sign this contract and the time we come out to build your roof and my coverage lapses, when you're listed as a certificate holder, you are by law, the agent has to notify you that policy has lapsed. What happens, and unfortunately this happens a lot in Georgia, just because again, this is the Wild West of roofing. No requirements, no barriers to entry. A lot of roofers will get that certificate. They try to start off doing the right thing. They try to get insurance, workers' comp, because a lot of people require those things to work on their home. Then what happens is after their first audit, they can't stand up to the audit and it becomes really expensive. They let it go, but that didn't stop them from making 600 copies or a digital copy of that certificate, and they hand those out to customers. So if you get canceled because you fail an audit, it's not going to go back and change the paper trail that says you were good for 6 months. You're good. That's why being listed as a certificate holder or getting a copy directly from the agent is really important.
Wow. Yeah, those audits are the number one cause of roofers losing their insurance. A lot of startup roofers can get the insurance one time. They don't even know that they're going to be audited at the end of the year. And that doesn't have the same implications as a tax audit. All they're doing is coming in, they're looking at your payroll versus the premiums you paid. But if you dodge them or you don't show up for the audit, you will get canceled, and that could leave a homeowner in a bad situation. Well, Phillip, you're kind of on a roll. It might be because you did 2 hours of sales training this morning, but I'm going to go ahead and let you take question number 10. This is completing the series. Who owns your company? An individual, a family, an investment firm, or a corporation? And how long have they owned it?
Well, that's a really good question. We're in Mr. Homeowner, we're in a really interesting time in the industry right now. It's been, primarily an industry dominated by, family owned or individually owned businesses. But over the last several years, investment firms have gotten involved and they've started purchasing a lot of these companies. So you want to find out, because a lot of times that means the mom and pop that treated every roof like it was a family member, or that gave their personal touch to every job. A lot of times those people are going to be gone once that transaction takes place. Priorities definitely shift when that happens for the company. So that's one thing. Also, and this is a good segue into what our next episode is going to be. But people use I'd say it's probably a platitude at this point. They use the word or the platitude family owned a lot.
Right.
Most people, it just sounds good, but most people can't necessarily tell you what the benefit of that is.
Right.
So I think that's a good one for us to talk about next episode. But you want to find out if they're family owned, or they're owned by an individual, an investment firm, and really you're just wanting to know who's backing your warranty, or if something goes sideways,
right,
who's going to be standing behind this work if something goes off script. Right. And depending, I'm not saying there's not good companies owned by investment firms. I'm just saying it's a lot different than that company before it was purchased. So something you need to keep an eye on. We were going to do our next episode on AI and roofing, and just AI in general, and all the implications and ways it's changed things. We feel like that's going to be a much bigger episode. We'd like to have.
It's getting bigger all the time. That needs to be a series. series.
Yeah, we'd like to have a guest on when we do that. And next go around, we'll actually have our new studio up and running. So we'll be shooting from there, and we've got 3 seats there, so we'll have a guest. We haven't asked for that here, so that's why we haven't had a guest up to this point. But that episode, I really wanted a guest, and they can't be on next month. So we're going to do family-owned businesses,
the benefits of
the benefits, and I'll look to see if there's any downside as well, and we'll cover both of those topics. I think that's our next episode. Anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, to sum this all up, obviously, having started this business 36 years ago and still being the pop in the mom and pop part of the formula, I feel pretty passionate about this. And I will say that finding out who owns the company is a great way to figure out what the likelihood is that you are going to fall through the cracks somehow. And I would say that in our case, it's almost impossible for any client, regardless of how big of a deal it is, almost impossible for them to fall through the cracks because we have so many goalies. We have so many people guarding that. So I think it's an important question. But as you said,
and ultimately we've got our name tied to this. So if we catch wind of an unhappy customer, we're going to jump right on it.
Now, can I offer this for consumption if somebody wants to write to us?
They can Stacy can put a link to that. Also, anybody, I think it is on our website as well, which is the Leaksmith.com, www.leaksmith.com. Also, if you call us out to your home for an estimate, you will get a copy of that. Let's see, Tommy, I think the next thing before we wrap it up is one easy way to make the world a better place.
All right. So we did the uncommon common knowledge at the beginning. Best way.
I'm sorry. You know what? This just hit me, and I want to go back to this. Just to wrap all this up, the point of these 10 questions is especially if you're in a unregulated state and you own a home there, it's to help you sift through the massive herd that's out there.
Right.
I did the math at one point. It's probably changed by now, but it's at a certain point there was one supposed roofing contractor for every 200 single-family residents in Atlanta. So that really means there was an overabundance, not necessarily qualified roofers, but roofing contractors. So we want to help you, in this process. Most people don't want to get 10 quotes. Most people want to get 2 or 3, and you want to make sure the 3 people you get out there are quality contractors. And if they answer correctly to those 10 questions, chances are you've got a good company out there, whether it's us or somebody else. Those 10 questions will help you sift through what is probably 6,000 plus here in Atlanta and get it down to those 3 that you want at your home.
And I cannot emphasize enough, every roofer you talk to is going to know the answer that you're looking for to all 10 questions. So I would highly recommend that people go a lot by what's volunteered without you having to ask. A good, responsible company ought to volunteer most of this information without you even having to ask, because any salesman can dance. When the gun fires, they can dance around it. But if this is volunteered up front, it's just a more inclusive proposal.
Yes. So when it's volunteered up front in the process. But if you get to the end of that consultation with that company and your questions haven't been answered, or it's not in the quote, then you're definitely going to want to check off the boxes that weren't answered. And I'll just tell you, a good salesman might be able to come up with the right answer at the right time. But a lot of these require documentation to prove, to get you the right answer, an actual address. They can't fake that. What's volunteered, but that's your last filter. But you can also do that, like when you're searching for roofers online, you can look for these things. That's how you get it down to 3 instead of 5,000. You look to see who's been in business for a certain amount of time, who's got an actual location, things like that. So,
so now, how to make the world a better place in one simple move. And I was thinking people might think, where do these guys get off telling us how to make the world a better place? Well, you and I, between the two of us, probably drive, a couple thousand miles a week. We're all over and we're in every neighborhood. And sometimes you just think if that hadn't happened, the world would be a little better place. Or if this would happen here, the world would be a better place. So it's something we're always thinking about it, and take it for what it's worth. But I think this week is use snail mail. If there's an elderly, disabled person in your life, people love to this day to get mail in their mailbox. And if you have a kid in your household or kids in your household, sit them down, make a game out of it, teach them how to put an address, a return address,
have
and
them
a
write
stamp.
Have them write thank you letters for all the gifts they got on their birthday. I mean, that was a routine I used to have to go through as a kid growing up. And I honestly, there was years when I really hated it because Mom made me do it for I think even Aunt Ruth would send me like a dollar every Valentine's Day. Yeah, I had to write her a thank you letter. But eventually I got to see the benefit of it and enjoy doing that, especially when I was in the Army. Did a lot of writing to grandparents and relatives. But we at our old office, we used to have what we called the Wall of Fame.
Was so cool.
And it was an entire wall covered with postcards, thank you letters, postcard. And towards the end, we started printing out emails as well.
Yeah.
But they didn't have quite as
not
much.
The same.
Not the same. So I would highly suggest, and this goes for roofers that are listening to this as well, give your clients a written thank you card.
Oh, absolutely.
When you finish the job. If you've got, wedding, you got married recently, send written thank you letters. It's really, it's going away and becoming more and more rare as time goes by. But again, getting something in the mail, and I mean, I'm 41 years old. I enjoy getting something in the mail. I get.
It's not a bill.
It's not a bill. I get hundreds of emails every single day.
Yep.
Nothing special about that, but an actual piece of mail.
There you go. So, let's step it up and make the USPS a little more busy. Maybe they can afford to cut their grass then. So,
does the one by your house got long grass?
Yeah, I don't get it. I said to Kathy, I wonder what would happen if I went into the post office and volunteered to cut their grass. Because I'd do it.
Listen to this. Actually, it just occurred to me. So George, one of our project managers, was down in East Atlanta yesterday. We were replacing a roof down there, and a guy pulled up on the curb in his truck and got out and asked George for his business card because he needed a quote. Well, while the guy was walking from his truck over to George, a passerby, jumped in the truck and drove off. And this is like an 80-year-old man. So the guy is, he starts crying. He's a little confused. Found out George was talking to him. The reason why I thought of this is because you mentioned the post office. He actually is a postal worker. He works at the post office, or he's retired. Not sure which one, but we did get the cops out there. We helped him file a report, and then we got the police officer to give him a ride home. But it was. And this is the thing. It's kind of it wasn't like a slum area. It's more of one of those areas where they've rebuilt a lot. It was just right in front of him, just jumped in and took off. But that's going to be it for this week. But I will encourage everybody, if you have any questions, comments, please send those to podcast@leaksmith.com. That is Leaksmith, LEAKSMITH.com. We'd love to hear from you. And when we start getting those questions, that'll probably be a segment either at the beginning or the end to answer those. And anybody that sends us a question, we'll be more than happy to send you some of our accent roofing swag. And I will tell you, our brand it's got brand power. It's like the Apple. I could see people wearing it all over the place. But we appreciate it. And
before we leave, I can't leave people thinking. I can't leave people thinking I'm some kind of a brawler, especially coming out of a holiday weekend. You might have thought I was in the wrong place and mouthing off or something. I had 2 wisdom teeth removed, and I had a hole drilled in my jaw, and my sinus lifted, and this is the result of that procedure. So but it's pretty glorious. It goes clear down to here, so I'm kind of proud.
I got you some sympathy.
Thank you. I hope so. That's the goal, is sympathy, always.
Nice.
All right. Well,
we're the Leaksmiths, and we were roofing when roofing wasn't cool.
Thank you so
we'll
much.
See you
for
next
watching.
time.
All right.
Thanks.